We often think about endings, like the final page of a book. But sometimes an ending, especially the end of a really significant life, is also, well, the very start of brand new stories.
That's a great way to put it.
Today, we're diving into exactly that kind of moment. We're looking at the death of Abraham, who lived to an incredible 175 years old,
Wow.
and we're exploring what happened right after with his family, his descendants.
Exactly. We've got these texts that detail his last years, describe it as a long, full life, and then outline the arrangements for his considerable estate.
Right.
But the really fascinating part, I think, is how these accounts immediately set up different paths for his sons and grandsons. You start seeing these family dynamics form that echo down the line.
Okay, let's unpack this then. So, Abraham 175. The text says he died at a ripe old age, having lived a long and satisfying life, and breathed his last and joined his ancestors. It sounds quite peaceful, actually.
It really does. And what happens next says a lot about the respect he commanded.
Mm.
His sons, Isaac and Ishmael.
Yeah, despite their, different mothers and history.
Right. They come together, they bury him in the cave of Machpelah. That's where Sarah was buried.
The field he bought.
Exactly. That joint act, burying their father together, it's pretty significant. It shows that deep cultural value of honoring your parents. Filial piety, basically.
Absolutely. Then there's the inheritance. It's made pretty clear Isaac is the main heir. Gets everything he owned.
The primary line.
But Abraham also gives gifts to the sons of his concubines. It specifically mentions Keturah and her 6 sons. Let me see. Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua.
Right. He provides for them.
But then, and this seems key, he sends them away, eastward, away from Isaac. It feels very intentional, that separation.
Oh, absolutely deliberate. This dispersal, it's not just moving house. It sets the stage for potentially different cultural paths, maybe even different beliefs down the line for these families.
Keeps things distinct.
Prevents clashes over the main inheritance, perhaps. It's a branching out. Abraham's legacy spreading in different directions.
Okay, speaking of other branches, Ishmael. We get an account of his family through Hagar.
Yes, a whole lineage there.
And it's meticulous. Lists his 12 sons by name: Nebaioth, Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedemah.
Quite the list.
And it explicitly says they became the founders of 12 tribes named after them, linked to their settlements. It feels like a parallel structure to, what we see later.
It does. And notice the geography mentioned from Havilah to Shur, which is east of Egypt in the direction of Ashur. It maps out their territory.
Okay.
But maybe the most striking bit is that last detail. There, they lived in open hostility toward all their relatives.
Whoa. Yeah, open hostility. That's strong language. It immediately flags this dynamic of conflict, doesn't it?
It really does. It's not just distance. It suggests a real antagonism baked into the story early on.
So Abraham's death isn't just closure. It's kind of the starting then for some possibly very tense relationships down the road.
Indeed. Those seeds of division are right there. It gives us a glimpse into how complex family and lineage can be, even with a shared ancestor.
Right.
That hostility detail really makes you think about inheritance, belonging, all that stuff.
Okay, let's shift then to Isaac's line, his direct descendants. We get his marriage to Rebekah. He's 40 when they marry. And she's described as the daughter of Bethuel the Aramean, sister of Laban, names that definitely pop up again later.
They become very important, yes. But initially there's a problem. Rebekah can't conceive.
Right. Which leads to Isaac praying for her. And the prayer is answered. She becomes pregnant with twins.
But it's not an easy pregnancy. The text says the children were struggling inside her, causing her real distress.
So much that she asks God, basically, what is going on? Why me?
And the answer she gets is, it's a major prophecy.
Huge. The Lord tells her she has 2 nations in her womb. They'll be rivals right from the start. One will be stronger, and the older will serve the younger.
Even before birth.
Yeah. Talk about setting the stage.
This prophecy is absolutely central. It foreshadows the whole difficult relationship between Esau and Jacob. It sort of plots out their destinies and the destinies of the peoples they represent.
Yeah.
Rivals from the very beginning, it says.
Yeah.
That tension is inherent.
And then they arrive. It's quite dramatic. First, Esau described as red, hairy all over. Hence the name Esau. Then Jacob is born, and he's literally holding on to Esau's heel, which is where his name comes from.
And it notes Isaac is 60 by then.
Yeah.
So they waited a long time for these children.
20 years.
Yeah. And those birth descriptions, they feel symbolic, don't they? Esau, red and hairy, maybe suggesting something kind of earthy, outdoorsy.
Like a man of the field.
And Jacob grabbing the heel. Even in the womb, there's that sense of competition, maybe trying to get ahead to overtake his brother.
Which takes us right into that famous incident, the birthright.
Ah, yes.
As they grow up, their personalities really diverge. Esau's the hunter, loves the outdoors. Jacob's described as quiet, prefers staying close to home, near the tents.
And we learn about parental favoritism, too. Isaac prefers Esau, probably liked the wild game Esau brought back.
Yeah, the text mentions that.
And Rebekah favors Jacob.
That probably didn't help the brotherly dynamic much, I imagine.
Likely not. It sets up potential jealousies, conflicts, and then comes the moment. Esau gets back from hunting. He's exhausted, starving.
Famished. And he sees Jacob has made some stew. That red stew, he says.
Right, and Jacob...
Yeah.
Well, he sees his chance.
He doesn't just hand it over, does he? No. He says, sell me your birthright right now.
Okay, pause there. For anyone listening who might not be sure what exactly was the birthright in that context, was it just about getting more stuff?
Good question. No, it was more than just a double portion of the inheritance, though that was part of it. It often included a kind of spiritual leadership role in the family, maybe being the main conduit for ancestral promises or blessings. So it carried a lot of weight.
Okay, so it's significant.
Very. But Esau, in that moment of intense hunger, just dismisses it. Look, he says, I'm about to die. What good is a birthright to me?
It's quite a reaction, isn't it? The immediate need completely overriding any long-term value. It really makes you think about impulse versus future consequences.
Definitely shows a stark difference in what they valued right then anyway. Jacob clearly saw the long-term significance. Esau just saw red stew.
And that's where Esau gets his other name, Edom, meaning red.
Yeah.
All because of that stew.
Yeah, directly linked.
So this simple trade, seemingly over a bowl of lentils, has huge implications. Esau swears an oath. He sells his birthright.
Done deal. Jacob gives him bread and the lentil stew. Esau eats, drinks, gets up, leaves.
And the text adds that final cutting remark. He showed contempt for his rights as the firstborn.
Oof. Yeah. It frames it as him despising something valuable. A choice made out of desperation, maybe, but one with massive consequences.
It really underscores the difference between them. That birthright, with all its cultural weight, inheritance, leadership, blessing Esau, just trades it away.
It's more than just a meal changing hands. It's like the established order gets flipped. It goes against the natural sequence of birth.
And it seems to echo, or maybe fulfill, that prophecy Rebekah received, doesn't it? The older serving the younger.
It certainly sets things in motion that way, driven by their choices, their personalities, but also fitting into this larger, foretold pattern.
Exactly. So we've seen an era end with Abraham. Paths diverge with his sons and grandsons being sent off or establishing separate territory.
Right, the dispersal eastward, Ishmael's tribes, and that hint of hostility.
And then this pivotal, almost impulsive decision between Isaac's twins that swaps the birthright and really sets a dramatic course for their future.
It's a period packed with transitions, laying down tracks for narratives that will run for a long, long time.
Absolutely. These aren't just dry records. They're full of insights into family, culture, individual choices, and how destiny seems to unfold, sometimes in very unexpected ways.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we've covered Abraham's final days, the scattering of some descendants, Ishmael's lineage and their future relations, and this crucial early clash between Esau and Jacob over the birthright.
It really paints a picture of legacy being formed, contested, and passed on.
Which leaves us with a question for you, listening. When you consider all of this, the way inheritance was handled, that divine prophecy about the twins, Esau's seemingly rash choice, what does it all suggest about the forces that actually shape families, shape destinies? How much is tradition? How much is individual choice? How much is, well, something else maybe foreordained? What could be the real long-term ripples from these initial events we've talked about today? Something to think about.